It's your boy, Sergeant Hooked on Heroes, hitting you with a brand spanking new review. This is for episode, are we already on 30 now? 30, I want to say? Yeah. Episode 30 of Avataro Sentai DonBrothers. Wow. We are this far in, and it's been a wild ride. This was a pretty good episode. A nice lead-in from last week, which was the whole thing where, what's his name? Sorry, Tsubasa saw Natsumi with, or Miho, whatever, Crane Juto, with Tsuyoshi, and was really upset by that, right? And so we follow that up in this episode, and he's really kind of upset about that, doesn't know what to do, and is kind of, angsty and forlorn about it. And we also cut to the Donbrothers Cafe, where most of the team, other than him, are trying to figure out who is Inu Brother. Well, Jiro figures it out. He's like, well, there was a point where I met Inu Brother, and, transformed, and I gave him dog food, the one episode where he gave him the dog food and he really ate it. And then later on, this person went by me, I'm pretty sure it was that Inuzuka Tsubasa, and he smelled just like the dog food I gave to Inu Brother. So maybe Tsubasa is Inu Brother, and he figures it out, and they're like, no, there's no way that could all be that Tsubasa is, that Inuzuka-san is Inu Brother. The guy who has Inu in his name is not Inu Brother, okay? This fucking show, god damn it. So I just like how easily they dismiss it. Like, they're not nearly as much of a team of idiots as the Zenkaijers were, but sometimes you worry about them a little bit. But so Taro butts in and is like, next time we see him in battle, I'm going to confront him and figure this out. We get the theme song, DonBrothers. And then episode begins. We also get this little musician character who becomes very important in the show, in this episode, who is kind of like a shitty street musician, and he had a girlfriend at one point named Shoko. He calls her Shoko-chan, and she kind of I guess left him or something like that, and so he's been just trying to be successful ever since, so he can get her back, whatever. So Inu Brother decides he wants to figure out some way to confront Tsuyoshi about what's going on. And so they get brought to a battle with the Hitotsuoki, which this week has two hosts, actually. One is a, kind of chubbier guy that I feel like is an eating contest champion or something like that. And it's a Gosenger-based one. I was telling everybody to diet. And they fight, and they confront Inu Brother, and Taro says, hey, I command you to show up at the Donbrothers Cafe later. You need to show up, and we want to know who you are. It's time for us to finally meet, entirely. And he's like, sure, I guess, whatever, and kind of agrees with it, but doesn't really, give him full confirmation. Well, after that, the musician guy is there, or around there, and he gets thrown back by the monster, untransforms, smacks the guy in the head, knocks him out, lands on the ground next to him, and loses the glasses, right? The, AR glasses. Well, eventually, the musician guy gets up first, takes the glasses with him, or has him next to him, and they think he's Inu Brother, because Inu Brother leaves, right? And so they think this musician guy is Inu Brother, and he thinks they're a band. So he's like, oh, cool, they want me to be in their band. And then the monster comes back, and they have him transform with them, and he sees that they're superheroes. Oh my god, whoa, they're superheroes. And so he's kind of perturbed by it, but is kind of fine with it too. And I kind of like this musician character. It's the goofiest thing to be a part of this at all, but I kind of like him. And I like getting back into the, iterating on this idea of, other people who were DonBrothers at one point, So, he wasn't, but I mean, now he's one of them that was. So, eventually Inu Brother starts to figure things out, and he sees what's happening with this musician guy, and he talks to him, and he says, I was actually Inu Brother, you have my glasses. He tries to use them, and he doesn't have them with him. And so, confronts the guy about it, and he's like, well, no, he thinks so, he goes, wait, this could work. If he is Inu Brother, they won't suspect me anymore, and I can confront Tsuyoshi. And so, it's just misunderstanding the episode. It's so Inoue it hurts, but I love it. I love you Inoue so much, Toshiki Inoue. So, convince the guy to stay, right? So the guy just all of a sudden shows up at the Donbrothers Cafe with his hair slicked back, and this whole situation, it's ridiculous. And he's trying to be all suave and cool, oh yeah, my fists are the only thing I listen to, and blah blah blah. And the whole team's like, wow, you're so cool. And then later on, we get Tsubasa confronting Tsuyoshi. He says, hey, I want to know about Miho. How did you meet her? And so we see the backstory of how he met Miho. she was at her beauty salon, and he kept coming in for like basically a haircut every single day until she finally said yes to a date with him. It's a little incel, but like it's fine, I guess. To the point where his hair isn't even how it was originally. The like brown, like light brown kind of poofy hair he has. It originally was black, normal black, like how some Japanese people's hair is black for the most part. That's what it was, and it ended up being this, after going through so many times of getting an appointment just to see Miho. So anyway, that's how we see how they meet or whatever, and Tsubasa's like, that's weird, because Natsumi mentioned, because she used to cut his hair, mentioned wanting to eventually be a beautician, but hadn't had the chance yet to like go to school for it, and blah 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 blah, right? So he's starting to piece things together, because he's not technically been present to see the whole Juto thing and know anything about that other than what they're called, but he doesn't know that Natsumi / Miho is a Juto currently, right? And so at this point, I believe Miho comes into it, and he actually runs away, because he's like, wait, why did I run away from her? I want her to see me. I want to talk to her. And he goes to go back over there, and he sees the musician guy come back, and he runs up to Tsuyoshi, and he's like, Shoko-chan? He thinks that it's his ex-girlfriend Shoko. You'll get to, in a minute, we'll get to why that's ridiculous. And Tsuyoshi's getting upset. So they go back to the Donbrothers Cafe, and they're like, oh, you're here, so you are and your brother, blah, blah, blah. And he's like, yeah. And he's like, well, I have one to pick with you. And Tsuyoshi's like, I do too. We can't both be on the team. You have to pick one of us, one over the other has to go. And they're like, why? He's like, because he's trying to steal my wife. She's like, really? All over, like, romance right now? And Taro literally says, what does he say? Oh, he says, we do not let your personal matters get in the way of being a Don brother. He's like hard-ass leader, shtick. So they want to fight or whatever, and before they even can, Miho comes into it, confronts him, and is like, see, there's no way I can be your wife. He's like, what? Or I can be your girlfriend that you're thinking of. He's like, why? He's like, I am his wife. Look at the ring. And then she pulls out a blanket and like lays it down, sits down like on her like knees, like, kind of like she's praying kind of a thing. And then Tsuyoshi comes and lays his head down, and she uses like the stem of a flower to clean his ears out or something, I guess, to show that they're close. So I don't know. And so that breaks him. And what we don't see is the Totsuyoki host, the like chubbier guy or whatever, ended up going to some restaurant, and he meets a girl there who he like basically falls in love with, and the power goes away from him, and it latches on to the musician guy who's mad about Shoko-chan now. And so he becomes the Totsuyoki, loses the glasses and everything, right? So now we know that Totsuyoki's gonna have more than one host, which is interesting. Loses the glasses, and Inu brother ends up picking him up, and they fight together and everything, blah blah blah. They even have the ground Toradora Dragonjin fight. Jiro comes back into it and helps fight. And he's the one that ends up defeating the Totsuyoki on the ground fight version of it. And then, well, actually they both do. It's the ground. It's both of them ground fight. And then they Mecha to destroy it, in the giant form. But yeah, it kind of ends bittersweet though. We see Tsubasa basically, it looks as though he's kind of like given up on confronting about it and figuring this whole thing out with what's going on with, Miho / Natsumi and everything, which kind of makes me upset. I mean, I hope that like there's more to it than this. I like that last week tried to set it up that him and Tsuyoshi were really going to duel each other for Miho / Natsumi, Crane Juto, whatever. My crackpot theory is that there'll be some way that they'll separate things out where there'll be Crane Juto Miho for Tsuyoshi, and then essentially Natsumi for Tsubasa, and then that'll be how it is, or he'll just give up on the thought of being with Natsumi anymore and will want to be with Tsunoni, maybe. Who knows? I don't know. But yeah, it was a really interesting episode, kind of all over the place, kind of like ridiculous and crazy, but still a really good episode. A lot of really, again, it's a favorite of mine because Tsubasa / Inu brother, whatever, is really becoming one of my favorite characters of the show. It used to be Kiji brother, but Inu brother is really starting to push above him even. I love the whole cast, but I think that he's probably one of my favorites. So yeah, next week shows Tsunoi returning with like kind of a powered up form to himself when he transforms. He's also similar. It has like a bit of a shade of personality from Taro, because if you don't remember from last week, they gave some of Taro's power to him to jumpstart his body and bring him back to life. So he seemingly he's absorbed some of his red energy from being, Danmaru Taro. We also see Dan Murasame create his own dark version of Dan Oni Taijin, I gotta look at what the name is. It's kind of complicated, but it looks really cool. We see that forming in a fight with that. Sonoi coming in, being like brought in, like kind of like how Avataro is, you know, with the ha 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 ha, and like a fan and everything, and like a big on a palantir or whatever it's called, or not palantir, whatever the big like thing is that they carry on their shoulders. Yeah, and him fighting Avataro. So really interesting to see what's going to go on with that. I think we get a tease of Golden Momotaro, the like power up form for him, the battleizer, if you will, which is beautiful. Look that up if you haven't seen it. Oh my goodness. So I don't know if it'll debut next week necessarily, or we'll get a glimpse of it, because the leaks about it talked about that it was a combined power from, basically he absorbs power from the DonBrothers, and the Naoto themselves donate their power to him to make this form, for him to be able to either create it initially, or it might be a thing like Abba Ranger / Dino Thunder with Triassic power, you know, Triassic mode, where he had to like use their power, and it usually made them either demorph or just weakened them, you know. So yeah, we'll have to see. Again, it looks really cool. I'm this close on ordering the transformation item for it. It's called the Omokoshi Phoenix or whatever. It's beautiful. But yeah, overall, I really love the episode. I'm a little upset it's less of a confrontation between Inu Brother and Hiji Brother than I was hoping for. But I mean, it's DonBrothers. It's Inoue. He's gonna fuck with us. It's just kind of his shtick at this point. But overall, I really liked it. I probably would give it somewhere around an 8.5 out of 10. I still thought it was entertaining and fun, but I wanted a bit more to happen, and it was more focused on like continuously like misunderstanding and like having a joke rather than like the plot moving forward, and that's okay. I just want more of the episodes that move the plot forward instead of going like not plot heavy, not plot heavy, plot heavy. You know what I mean? Like I want like a few in a row that plot heavy, push things forward and go from there. So but overall, enjoy the episode, but let me know in the comments below, what did you guys think of this week's episode of Avataro Sentai DonBrothers? Did you love it? Did you hate it? Were you in the middle? Content this week, I just recorded my Kamen Rider Geats episode 5 review. Also, if you want to see that in kind of a more written, smaller, chunked format, I am now officially a tokusatsu journalist. Can't even believe I can put those words together. A tokusatsu journalist on the SHT, or Superhero Time News Network website. Squall Charleston's put this together along with a lot of his friends and close, you know, confidants and stuff like that to create a website where we can share, you know, articles about tokusatsu, may that be reviews of the episodes or reviews about, you know, some of the movies and things like that, or releases or figure releases, DX toy releases, things about Power Rangers, like all that kind of stuff. It's all there. You know, if you have something tokusatsu at all that you want to know about or you want to hear about, we got you covered on Superhero Time. So yeah, so definitely check us out on there. I shared it on my Twitter at RioSoulRiderRed or Sergeant Hooked on Heroes. So definitely check us out there. Hooked on our on Henshin's and Homies this week for the podcast. No guests, because we had 2 guests 2 weeks in a row. So it'll be just me and Frankie talking about is Dino Fury that straight fire or mid? And then also talking about our thoughts and theories and things about Cosmic Fury, the details they've revealed so far, you know, information, things like that they've disclosed. So yeah, that'll be the podcast this week. But yeah, thank you guys so much for watching, for subscribing, for commenting, liking, all that good stuff. I really, really do appreciate all of you so much. It really means the world to me to see people enjoying the content that I create. But until next time, stay hooked on those heroes. I will talk to you later. Don't worry.